Hello, my name is Donna McNeil and I'd like to introduce what I do and actually how I came to do what I do. So, I am now 59 in December, Sagittarian, 59 this year, and I started when I was 27, 28, and I thought I want to work with people, I wanted to do some sort of healing, didn't know what it was. And so I put up to the universe, tell me and guide and direct me on what I'm going to do. And nothing came, but it doesn't come like that anyway. And so I thought, how can I tell the universe that I'm actually serious in what I want to do? So I enrolled in a Reiki course. Love Reiki, don't get me wrong, but you've got to have the correct personality, and personally, I don't think I've got the correct personality. So I went and did a course. It was a 3-hour drive for me to get there. So I did Reiki 1, met fantastic people, and I did have children at the time. So it was good because I did Reiki on my children and also on animals. Anyway, I was booked in for Reiki 2, and a couple of weeks beforehand, there was some time in between the two, Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, and I had a dream that I was going to have a car accident. There's a reason I'm telling you this story. Anyway, I've also had a few girlfriends that were clairvoyants. So I went to them and said, I've had a premonition, had a dream that I'm going to have a car accident. They said no. Anyway, a week before I was to do Reiki 2, I went out and visited a girlfriend, and on the way back there was a dirt road, and yes, a little stupid because I was in a hurry and I was doing 100 k's down a dirt road. Not a good idea. Anyway, the cutest little lamb jumped out, and we all know what I should have done, and I didn't, and I thought I'm going to save the lamb, and I swerved. And then anyone who's been in the car accident knows that everything is slow motion. Slow motion, I then felt spirit in the car, and I heard, get your wheel and swing it down to the right, like so that I was going in that direction, because there was a tree there and I could have probably wrapped myself around that tree. Anyway, I did exactly what I was told because I was used to spirit sort of talking to me, and the ditch on the side of the road, the car went into that. So by now I've slowed down, and as I'm heading towards this tree, I can't say I was scared, but I sort of was. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, as I'm going down towards the tree, I had slowed down and I could feel two spirits at the front of my face in between me and the steering wheel. And but I did notice this. I honestly believe that I was taken out of my body, hit the tree, and then put back into my body. And I swear to God that's what happened, because that I was conscious through the whole entire thing, but that actual impact, no. That's how I feel about it. Whether it's true or not, irrelevant. So then I was told to get out the back because I couldn't open up my door because it was all squashed. Very lucky, like no injuries, unbelievable. A lot of bruising. Climbed over the back seat, kicked open the back door, and I heard run. And the adrenaline was going nuts, so I thought, I'll run. Ran down the road, waved down a car. The woman went past the car accident that I was in. She actually couldn't believe I was alive. And going past it, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Now, I'm going to continue with the story and then I'll weave back. And then, so the following week, I was on a lot of painkillers, went to hospital, they checked me out, I was fine. I then went to the Reiki 2 course, 3 hours away, which is a bit of a hike, and there were 2 ambulance officers in this group of people. They all, they found out that I had been in a car accident, so people wanted to work on me. But this ambulance officer said to me, at lunchtime, Donna, can I give you a Bowen? Bowen, Bowen. The guy who came up with that was an Australian, and he lived in Geelong, and that's where the course was. So I said yes. So he takes me into a room, he does a Bowen. So a Bowen is a little bit of muscle manipulation, and they walk out and they come back in and they walk out, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? It literally felt like as if he was tickling me. Anyway, then we finished the rest of the day, and he keeps saying to me, do you feel any different? Do you feel any different? And I said no. because I'm not going to lie about it. And he said, you will. And he was very confident. I was so surprised at how confident he was. We wrap up the course. I then drive home for 3 hours and he says to me, it's such a long drive. After an hour, you need to get out of the car and walk around the car. So I do that. And then I realise when I get home, I've got no pain. And I had energy and I slept. Oh my God, it was the deepest, the most fantastic sleep. And I slept like that for a week. Now, this is the thing about that story. When you say to the universe, please help me find what I'm meant to do, you should, I think you must, put in with ease and grace. Because if I didn't have the car accident, and I didn't, so first of all, I did the Reiki, but I went along to tell the universe, this is what I want to do. But if I didn't have the car accident, I wouldn't have met the ambulance man, he wouldn't have done a Bowen, and I wouldn't have found out what modality I wanted to do. And the modality I chose was Bowen. And all of a sudden, I was so happy I knew what I was meant to do. And then the synchronicities of life continued. So I book in for a Bowen course and then I decide, I actually want the best teacher. So then I put up to the universe again, can you please give me the best teacher? The course that I was booked in, I don't believe in coincidences, was cancelled. And then I had time to do my research and I heard about this woman called Libby Gordon. She's in Melbourne, and so I went to her. So here I am in this course. It's full of all these health professionals, and then there's me. And when it came time for me to talk about what I did, I was like, so I've done Reiki and I've got 2 kids and and I'm a housewife. Yeah. Everyone's looking at me like, what is she doing in this course? So Libby, at the end of it, and it was, I absolutely loved this course and I loved what it did for my body. It relaxed my muscles and it was brilliant. Now, my dad, before he died, gave me the best advice. And he said, Donna, always have the courage to ask the question. As long as you can take the answer, do it. So I thought, okay. So I said to Libby, I would like to be really good at my craft. If I brought another friend down, we worked on her body, would you tutor me to make sure that I'm going to be good at what I do? And she said yes. Unbelievable. So it was like all the doors were opening. The synchronicity was there. It was fantastic. So I ended up being a Bowen therapist. Then I did flower essences. Then I thought, I want to be taken seriously. God, what's that? And I did herbal medicine and naturopathy. I actually really didn't want to do naturopathy, but again, I was only young and everyone was saying to me, people will respect you more if you do naturopathy. I call bullshit on that now. Anyway, I did do that. And then from there, I worked with Libby a fair bit, and then I was introduced, to her identical twin sister, and this was a couple of years later, and her name was Barb Stone. And I knew that Barb had gone overseas and was staying with Caroline Meese. I hope I pronounced that properly. And so she taught her all about archetypes, but Barb did it with a twist. And so I ended up learning all about archetypes. I'll do a video on that another time because it's fabulous. Anyway, but here I am. I put up for my teacher to be good. It's Libby Gordon. And then 2 years later, I meet her identical twin sister who ended up being even to this day, she's my mentor. And the amount of things this woman has taught me is, unbelievable. Anyway, ended up being a naturopath and had a clinic. And while I was in the clinic, I didn't like the way that I was using herbs from the bottle, MediHerb. Fantastic product. But I looked at it and thought, I don't know the signature of this herb. I don't know what it smells like. I don't know what it tastes like. I didn't know the personality. And then I started to have more dreams. Pay attention to your dreams, people. My God. So then I had a dream, and then I started to have dreams that I had a master that was taking me through the bush, always the apprentice, going through the bush, and one was in the English countryside and there was a Chinese one in there as well. And I just had this sense that I was on the right track, but I wasn't. So I decided to follow up on it, and then I discovered the wise women. Other people call them witches. And then they taught me, Robin Rose Bennett was the very first book I ever got, in the Wise Women Ways. And the way she spoke about, say, hawthorn, for example, I have a deep love for hawthorn. Actually, I have a deep love for all these herbs. But she spoke about it on the physical, spiritual and emotionally, and it really moved me, and I knew that I could do a different sort of healing. So then I went down that track, and then that track took me to the pagan ways, it took me to the witches' ways, it took me to the elements, air, fire, water, earth. Astrology. I wish I had the time to get into astrology. I love it, but I know a little bit, and I mean a little bit. What else did it teach me? It just taught me so much about the natural healing ways, and it also taught me to open up my heart. My heart was seriously closed, and that's another story for another time. And so I did that, and I worked with that for quite a while and really got to know my craft. And then I decided to open up a shop, because I opened up a shop when I was 54, I think. And when I was in my early 30s and I was studying, I decided then and there that I wanted to open up a shop, and the reason I wanted to is because I wanted it so that the public could come in and spend $39 on a herb that they had no idea about, but it wasn't a huge investment. Like if you go and see a naturopath, it's going to cost you some dollars. And I wanted to introduce people to herbs so that they could see how magnificent herbs are and how much we've moved away from nature, and we've moved away from the innate intelligence of a herb that can heal you physically, spiritually and emotionally. I was quite scared opening up that shop because I went straight into, do I know enough? Am I good enough? All that nonsense. Anyway, the shop was, I can't tell you, it was fantastic for a few reasons. I've met some lifelong friends out of that shop. And I opened in 2020, COVID, really intelligent. And it did show me that I did know my stuff. I ended up making my own herbs. I manufacture and do everything myself, which I'm really quite proud of. And but what I really learnt was the stories that came through that shop from women, from men, from families, grandmothers, children. They are remarkable. And some of those stories I would like to talk about. Not now. It was just really eye-opening for me just to meet some of the most extraordinary people. And then from there, the rent went through the roof, and I had a client who's now a dear friend of mine, Eleanor, and she was like, why don't you come to Ivanhoe? So we together now, Eleanor and I, have opened up a shop here. Eleanor is the opposite to me. Her energy is earth-based. Oh my God, she can calm anybody. So she does meditations, and she's really good at it. She also does spiritual cleansing, like if you've got evil eye and all that sort of stuff. But her grandmother taught her, so there's a lineage there, which is brilliant. Eleanor does come from the corporate world, and she has got a lot of experience knowing people, reading people. Yeah, she's excellent. So together, we yin and yang, I suppose you'd call it, because I'm fire and she's earth. And so we've now got this shop in Ivanhoe. So basically, the basis of what I want to do with this platform is to talk about people's stories. I want to talk about herbs that in my way. I want to talk about the elements and really basically what I think is going on in the world. So I hope you will travel with me and you'll enjoy the ride just as much as I do. We hope.